Yeah, we about to do it. Watch us get into it. We some lumberjacks, and we needin' wood. Yeah, we going for the sweep, then we mop it up. We put it all on the block, and then we chop it up, 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 chop it up. We put it all on the block, and then we chop it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chop and Block podcast and the full crew is back. Finally, man, a week without all of you fellas. It was still fun, but it wasn't the same. This is the Chop and Block podcast. This is This Week in College Football presented by DJ's Clam Shack. Hey, my favorite, day of the week is Tuesday, and that's because we get to talk about college football. And you know what? To start this show, I think we'll chew on one for a while. That's what Nick Saban said. And apparently he don't smoke them when he's got them. But he's had a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure he's burnt some down. But I'm just going to put it bluntly. Alabama is still the kings of the West until somebody steps up and beats them. I for sure see them being in Atlanta in December as the SEC West champions to face Georgia. And I want to know what you guys think. If you think that that's not true, I want to know why and who is going to beat the Tide and make it to Atlanta in December. Dylan Mertz, you got a last name change every week. I look forward to it. Who knows what we'll see next week? Tell us what you got.
Look, I know it's fun. Look, they've been the kings of college football for so long now. It's fun to find any negative or anytime they lose. It's fun to poke fun at Bama. And there's a lot of things with this team that you can say is a negative, but they keep winning, and I think they're going to keep winning. The best trait you can have in a team for me is that winning trait. In close games, do you show up and do you win the game? Look, now being in these type of games, and maybe they do slip up again against the LSU or somebody, but man, in later games, say they make it to the SEC championship, if it's a close game late, they've been in 5 of them. They know how to win them, and the West race is going to come down to Alabama LSU that game, but yeah, they've got everything in front of them, man. They're going to be tough.
Craig, I know you're absolutely thrilled to talk about this subject here. What do you got to say down there from Auburn?
Yeah, big whoop. You beat Tennessee. Still got to play LSU. We'll see how that goes. I don't want to, jinx it or anything. I mean, Bryant-Denny's definitely a home field advantage to be able to get the Tigers at home for sure. Still got to come to Jordan-Hare at the end of the year. Auburn's still bipolar. We'll see how that goes. Two-Turn's not worried about it, but we'll see how he is at halftime. I'm glad he was getting married last weekend. If he watched that first half, he'd had a gun in his mouth. Yeah, I think it's just like Dylan said, man. It's going to be LSU or Bama. Whoever wins this game coming up next weekend. Big weekend. This is when they start meaning something when you get in November. So it'll be a fun time to be an SEC fan.
Smoke them if you got them. I know you were happy to see this as well as the next guy, but we'll get to him later. Kevin, what do you got to say about this? Alabama still the kings of the West?
Well, the big man down in the plains said big whoop. They beat Tennessee. Well, Tennessee's not Ole Miss or anything, but we did, eke out a win this weekend. Anyway, no, I don't think we're the kings of the West yet, man. We got a major hurdle in LSU to climb, and I think we're going to have to score 30 points to do it, and we're going to have to hold them to 30. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. I'm hoping LSU's defense is still LSU's defense when they roll into Tuscaloosa in a week or 2 weeks from now. But it's going to be a tough matchup, man. I mean, LSU is good on every level on offense. I mean, I think maybe we can get pressure on Daniels, but Daniels can get out of there and escape and bust us for a 40-yard run at any time of the game. So I'm just happy we get, man. Alabama, is like the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But this year they're playing, they have that appearance, but they're just playing like they're the underdogs every game, which is weird to me. I mean, but I think, me and my buddy Craig there, we've always said, just win in advance in the SEC, man, and see what happens. Alabama could come out and play their A game, and LSU's defense, we know what that is, and I mean, we could put 50 on LSU. Or LSU's defense decides they want to show up and they hold us to 20. So not yet. I wouldn't say we're the Kings, but we are in the driver's seat. We don't have any SEC losses yet. And even if LSU does beat us, LSU still got maybe one game they could lose. So that will give them 2. So, I'd say we're definitely in the driver's seat.
All right. Before we get to this next guy, big shout out. Congrats on the wedding. Congrats on the marriage. Looked like an unbelievable ceremony. Wish I could have been there. Didn't work out, but hey, really, really happy for y'all. I know I can tell she's the one, and I'm glad you're happy. That's all that matters. Hey, Tony, I know you're also happy with this game. Tell me what you got to say.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Dylan seen firsthand how I was in the first quarter because we were waiting to take pictures for the wedding, and we were watching the first 6 minutes of the game. And, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why we were playing 10 yards off on Tennessee's receivers. Joe Milton is not a quarterback who can make tight throws in the tight coverages. But if you sit 10 yards off and you let him just dink and dime you up in the field for stop routes, then yeah, like I said, I was at the wedding. We were down 20-7. My son comes up to me out of nowhere during the wedding and goes, "Daddy, Tennessee just fumbled. We ran it to the end zone. We're up 14. I said, "What?" And I'm sitting there doing this, looking at Dylan, trying to tell him, hell yeah. But as far as the question goes, man, after watching the game, yeah, dude, Alabama's trending in the right direction. Like, that second half, I know we're still up and down. We haven't put a full game together yet still. But that second half was the best second half Alabama's played this year. It was the first time Alabama actually controlled the line of scrimmage from start to finish of any quarter or half. Tennessee's got the best run defense in the SEC. And they got he's not the best, but he's right behind Dallas Turner as a pass rusher. Pierce, he's second in sacks. That was a really good defense Alabama played. And they couldn't stop us in the second half. I mean, even Milroe's interception, it wasn't his fault. It should have been a touchdown. It hit Jermaine Burton in the chest. And he was like, "Oh, I couldn't see. The sun was in my eyes." It is what it is. It got picked off. That wasn't his fault. I mean, Alabama played great in the second half. We finally got an offensive line, the right guys in. Jaden Roberts is a guy he sat behind for 2 years, and he's finally in, and he's a stud. Darren Dalcourt better not touch the field again for Alabama. Caden Proctor picked it up a little bit, and we're finally seeing some push, and they're protecting Milroe for the most part. Honestly, the sacks he's taken, when he does take them right now, the past couple games, they've been on him for the most part. He's holding it too long. So I'm really proud of how our lines just had some out of Auburn. You got to be able to score to beat Alabama, period.
Yeah, Caden Proctor's my biggest surprise. I mean, that guy was on skates the first 5 games. The last 2 games, he's been moving some people. He's given up one sack, I think. And I think he's picking it up.
And let's call it like it is. The West is, not determined. It's for Alabama. It's determined next week. For LSU, they still got they don't control their own destiny. They still got to hope Ole Miss loses, whether they beat Alabama or not. Because even if Alabama loses, if Ole Miss wins out, Alabama still gets an SEC championship according to the tiebreaker.
Ole Miss ain't winning.
Next week for Alabama, we know we have to win the West, like to lock it up. We win next week, it's clinched because. It is. We're not going to lose if we beat LSU. We're not losing out after we beat LSU. It's not happening.
And
we play Chattanooga before we play.
Alabama's still got to go to Kentucky too, and no matter what Georgia did to Kentucky, we haven't played near as consistent as Georgia. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's what I was about to say. We play Chattanooga. I think, do we play Chattanooga after Kentucky or before Kentucky?
After.
Okay, so that works out. But either way, we clinched the West with a win over LSU. And LSU's got the best receiver in the country. Neighbors is the best receiver in the country, easily. We got to contain him. And like you said, we can't let Jalen score 30. But Jaden Daniels getting outside the pocket and running for 20, 30 yards, that can't happen. That's what got him. That's what won him the game last year. Pete Golden, we got a lead twice, and he just shit down his leg. I mean, it's plain and simple.
I'll tell you
Alabama's
what.
still the kings of the West. Just because you don't win it every now and then, it doesn't matter. Like we're the kings of the West until we get beat consistently. One year not going to the SEC championship don't change nothing.
Get him, Bear.
No. We don't get to say we the kings of the West. LSU is the current king of the West. We want
That's
it.
right.
Somebody beat us.
You don't.
We want. No. I hear too much every year. How many rings y'all got? So we ain't gonna count the last championship for the West for us. We ain't gonna count nothing for y'all. So what it's gonna be?
Well. First off, there's no championship for winning the West.
Who
That's something
won the
LSU
West?
celebrates, not us.
Do you want to win it? Hold on. Do you want to win the
It
West
don't
this year?
matter.
Or no?
It don't matter. It
Do
don't
you
matter.
want to win? Do you want to win the West?
Yes, but
this year
that
or
doesn't
not?
matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care if I win the West. Yes, but I don't care if I win the West if I lose the SEC championship. I want to win the whole thing. The West don't mean
What
shit.
you got to do
If you lose
first?
the SEC championship, I don't care if you won the West. You got beat by 40 in the SEC championship last year.
What you got to win? What you got to? That's a perfect
You win one
plan.
time,
Tony
it
done
doesn't make
turned
you the
himself
king.
off. Look
You
at
don't become the king after winning one championship.
You're not the king. The
You
king, man.
don't. You don't become the king for winning one SEC West. It don't work like
Hey, dude.
no.
Y'all got to win the SEC West in order to go play Georgia. We
That's
won
fair.
it last year. Y'all didn't.
But
So
I'm
don't
gonna
quit
eat this pizza because you know who Daddy is.
yeah, I know it. See,
Alabama.
we don't see. We be eating gumbo right now, not Little Caesars.
Hey,
Hey,
before I throw it to
hell,
Coach
I
Price,
had to go with something to eat.
before I throw it to Coach Price, you know, let's be honest. LSU are the kings of the West currently.
Yes.
Alabama didn't play in Atlanta last year, and you know what? Until they beat LSU, I don't know if they'll play in Atlanta this year.
That's fair.
So, Coach Price, what do you got to say? Then we'll go to the next one.
Well, honestly, I think that Alabama is right now running the West. What I'm looking at Alabama is the same thing that I've seen out of Georgia for the past 2 years when everybody said Georgia wasn't going to do this and wasn't going to do that. You start the game out slow, you go into halftime, you make adjustments, you come out, you drop the hammer on them. Same recipe that we had for the past 2 years. So for me to sit here and say Alabama ain't there, no. The only issue I have is you cannot get into a shootout with LSU. It's LSU ball game. But as far as me sitting here and saying if they go to halftime in that ball game and LSU is up by 14-17, it ain't safe.
Mm-mm.
So in order for me to sit here and say LSU will beat Alabama next week, you have to literally be up 20 plus points at halftime and getting the ball back in the third quarter and then go score again. Because the one thing I notice is just like Georgia, they make the right adjustments at halftime. They come out and it's a total different ball team. If Alabama put two halves together, LSU wouldn't have a chance.
And the Alabama don't quit. That's what's the best thing about this team. This team does not quit at any point. At any point.
But I
Most
still
teams
like
lay down.
LSU. I still like LSU just because they can score. And being able to score is a safe haven for them, knowing that you can't get into a shootout, as far as on Miro's side. But the one thing I can say is for him to say, oh, I'm not a running quarterback, your legs is what won the ball game last week for you. So, buddy, you're a running quarterback. You're not a run first option quarterback. But, bro, you're a running quarterback hands down. Michael Vick wasn't considered a passing quarterback, but he could sit in the pocket and throw the ball. But I guarantee you, when he took off and ran it, it had you scared. Miro, you're the exact same player. You're a running quarterback, but you're not a run first option quarterback.
If
But
he was, we'd likely be undefeated and more consistent.
More consistent. But he doesn't want
He
that
don't
to
wanna
be
be that.
part of his playbook. But the problem is with Miro in that statement that bothers me the most is you're trying to stereotype running quarterbacks as they don't win. And I can sit here and tell you just about every college quarterback that was a running quarterback, but in college football, y'all won.
Yep.
In the pros, it was something different. But be proud of what you really are instead of trying to be something that you're not. But my take on it is Alabama right now is looking like they could be the king of the West. But like Barry pointed out, LSU was the one in the SEC championship last year. So right now they're still the king, just like Georgia's still the king until you knock them down.
And I'll say real quick, my unbiased take on this is that I do think that Alabama has the current momentum in the West. And I was talking to somebody about this, I think yesterday. It's just something about a Nick Saban team at the half. They just come back, man, and it just puts it together. I mean, so it's a story about resilience. I think Alabama is a really, really resilient team. And then about the statement from Miro, Miro can only talk that crap because he ain't played nobody really getting after him like somebody needs to get after him. You know what I'm saying? Like if LSU has one game,
He's been sacked more than anybody.
But what I'm saying is though, man, he's not a passer. I don't care what he says. You know what I'm saying?
He's
been passing a little better, but dude, that he gonna be selling insurance somewhere if he don't get better. That's just
you need to get the clock.
Oh yeah,
Let's
yeah.
all
He's average. He's an average thrower right now.
let's all keep in mind he's still got 2 years to play if he wants to play at Alabama. So he can.
Yeah.
And that's a great point. And that's a great point. But I will say that it's going to take LSU to have a game that they haven't had before on defense on the front line. I'm not so much as worried. I think we're good enough to deal with Miro's passing. If it was somebody else that was a great passer, I'd say, hell no, we're going to get the crap beat out of us. But I do believe that Alabama, they beat LSU. We don't know what's going to – we don't know how far out this Alabama team can go, man, because last week, I know it might not have been complete to y'all, and I know it was Tennessee. They look damn good. They look scary enough.
So I'll tell you one thing before
Barry, that second half was the first time all year where I was just ecstatic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing before we back that truck up, because I hear the engine starting. I don't know if he's got the train horn today or the little choo-choo horn, but I'll tell you one thing about Alabama. They haven't been consistent, and it almost seems like this year there's two possibilities. They either go to Atlanta and it's normal business, or they lose a game they shouldn't have lost. I mean, they almost did it against Arkansas. Tennessee was close for a little while. The second half was a blowout. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if LSU does beat them. But right now, for me, Alabama, they're back. I mean, they're back on top in the West until whatever. But I hear Coach Price has got that truck backing up. Who knows where he's going to take it this week? Coach Price, take it away.
All right, man. Well, we're going to back it on up, and we're going to hit the highway. And the first stop we're going to make is Pennsylvania. And Mr. James Franklin, I argue with my man, Two-Turnt Tony, all season long that you were going to finally get it done. Buddy, you're 2-16 against top 10 teams. So you ain't going to get it done, James. I even believe what my man KD said when he said, he was in Vandy and he won, so he must be pretty good. No, I can't believe it anymore. The bottom line is this. Penn State, stop getting ranked so high because you're putting too much hype into it. like everybody else is putting hype into it, and you win in that ball game, and you play like a top 100 team, but below 50. Sorry, man. It's no excuse for it. The calls that you called were terrible. You couldn't run the ball on them. That you were predictable in the passing game. Your defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. I mean, the bottom line is this: James Franklin, you in that 2-16 record, and them Penn State Nittany Lions who got caught on the catnip. You boys are straight trash.
Coach, you
Now,
you coach this game. Why are we seeing such why are we seeing James Franklin have such a hard time against teams
top
like, I mean,
teams.
I don't understand it. You know, what's he doing different?
I can tell you what it is, KD. He's straight trash. That's it. He's just straight trash, bro. Now, my next stop is in Mr. Bear Alexander. Buddy, what are you crying for? There's a phrase that I've seen in a movie that says there's no crying in baseball, but there's no crying in college football either. You made the decision to leave Georgia, and you'll never sniff another ring for the rest of your career. And in the famous words of Mr. Jim Moore, in talking about you USC Trojans, playoffs. You're talking about playoffs? We're just trying to win a game. Well, you boys are out of it. So I'm gonna tell you right now, Bear, you should have stayed in Athens, but you didn't. So due to the fact that you decided to move to the West Coast instead of staying on the East Coast, buddy, you and them little crocodile tears, y'all are straight trash.
JP, to be honest
Now,
with you, USC's got a chance to go 1-3 to end the season.
True. Now, my final stop. This is the first time I've ever been called to pick up trash when I didn't see any trash there. So I was a little bit suspicious about what was in the trash bags. So instead of taking this to the landfill, I decided to wheel it into the back of Two Turnt's garage, and we went through the bags. Come to find out, Jim, you throwing away tape from filming people, notes from stealing signals. Bro, all this time I thought y'all looked good and was making everybody else look like trash. But the bottom line is, you're straight trash. If you got to cheat, you're trash. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what level you're on. It's disappointing when something like that happens, because how am I supposed to believe that you are a coach that knows what you're doing? I can make myself look like a genius if I can steal everybody's signals. So, Jim, you and your buddies and your crew and your alumni and all your big wigs that you got running around over there in Michigan, for cheating, you boys are straight trash.
Coach, that's in all seriousness, that stuff in Michigan, you know, this is serious stuff. I mean, this ain't
Indeed.
This ain't paying the recruits some money to come play for them. This is illegal, like illegal,
Big time, big
and
time.
if the NCAA can act fast enough, Michigan has a chance of not making the playoffs this year and forfeiting a bunch of games this season.
And guess what else might happen?
It helps Ryan Day out.
Somebody might get fired. And remember we
Absolutely.
talked about you remember we talked about the other day of somebody going to the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh might walk right back into the NFL at the end of all of this, dude. This is going to be lit.
Y'all want to hear some wild stats about that?
What's up?
All right, so all this started in the beginning of 2021, right? Harbaugh's 6 seasons before that, his record 47-22. Since this scandal started, 33-3.
There you go. I can make myself look like a genius if I'm cheating.
What's the one game throughout their entire run this past 3 years that they couldn't have gone to the game to steal signs for because they didn't know who they were playing.
Playoff.
TCU, and they got that ass smacked.
That's right.
Hey, hold on. You can't say
Also got that ass smacked by them dogs.
Dalton, you can't say
You could
too
have told them what we were running. They didn't have a shot.
Dalton is used to having somebody steal and getting championships.
That's a good point. I'm surprised Mr. Dalton isn't defending.
So he don't need to be. He don't need to be doing too much over there. All them gates been opened up there in Boston.
If you wanna discuss that nonsense, that's for Wednesday nights. All right. So, like Dave Chappelle said, I plead the fifth. Hey, straight up fifth. Hit him again with it. Fifth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
I am not partaking in the cheating scandals at the moment. But I will tell you what. No cheater will arrive in Atlanta, Georgia, because the FBI is hot there. Hell, the GBI, the DEA, the ATF, they got every organization in Atlanta. Only the real survives, and right now there's only 4. It's the Dogs, the 2-time defending national champion, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the LSU Tigers, and the Ole Miss Rebels. Who makes it to Atlanta and why? Dylan Mertz, new name.
Well, the East, I think it's going to be a real tough road, but I think Georgia might squeak it out and get to Atlanta. On that West side, it ain't 3 teams. You can throw Ole Miss out of there. They still got a tough road. Last year, I think it was around this time last year, everybody was talking about another 3-way tie between these 3 teams, and then Ole Miss went on to lose like 2 of their last 4 games. They're going to do it again. They got to play Georgia. It's going to come down to Bama LSU in the West.
All right, Craig. I know your team's not in the conversation, but I know you got to have an opinion. Let's hear it.
They can spoil it though.
They could.
They can't spoil it, and that'll be a topic for another discussion. I don't think it's going to come to that. I think LSU just beats Alabama heads up. I'm still not convinced. I guess we'll see. Everybody's talking about stringing a full game together and halftime adjustments and all that crap, and I agree with that. And the team does look better, and it's kind of the same situation. When you're 3 deep with 5 stars, it's kind of hard to look bad. I think. That's what I can't get a grasp on. Auburn's struggling to get 2 stars down there, and everybody's making fun of my team because we ain't winning. Well, no joke. Look what was in the cupboard. Hell, I could walk on at Auburn right now at 46 years old. I mean, literally, when you're 3 deep at 5 stars at almost every position on that field, and your offensive line is straight trash. Trash. Worse than the SEC. Worse than Auburn's offensive line, that's a mouthful.
That's a joke.
Just bad. I don't think they can score with LSU. I mean, time will tell. We'll find out next weekend. So I got LSU. And Georgia ain't got a cakewalk, man. I mean, let's just be honest. Florida, they got Missouri at home. That's a home field advantage. It worked out this year pretty nice for the Bulldogs. Still got to go to UT.
That's a good point, Craig, because about 6 weeks ago our schedule was cake. Now it's looking
you got a
tough.
little meat on that bone now. So we'll see. Like I said, man, November in the SEC, it's hard to beat, boys. It's my favorite time of the year when they start meaning something. So it'll be interesting to watch. I really do. I just got a feeling LSU. I got that feeling. I don't know what they'll do in the championship game. It might be the same situation as last year. We'll see.
Can I go next real quick? Because I've heard that he's had a feeling the last 3 Alabama games about the opposing team beating Alabama. So that feeling must be a little tickle on his ass because it ain't the winning feeling.
I said I had a feeling about the spread. I only picked against Alabama one time.
I'm just saying. But look, this is where I get with this. My thing is, since when have we stopped not taking the teams that have the better defenses to win a game? When you look at 2 teams and you look at one team who's 120th in the country in defense and the other team who's top 10 and go, you know what? I don't think Alabama can beat them. I mean, look, man, LSU's defense ain't just going to get it together out of nowhere. And I'm going to be real with you. LSU's going to score, period. Alabama's defense is elite, but LSU is going to score. The thing is, their defense is garbage. It's absolutely shit. I can go to my toilet right now and make a better steamer than LSU's got on defense. And it's
You think
plain.
Bama wins the
It
shootout?
ain't that
the whole
bad.
second, it's not going to be a shootout,
But
but
it will be.
it won't be.
It
It won't
will
be. I
be.
promise. Because
You'll
look, the
have
thing
to.
is, Alabama will get enough stops to stop Jaden Daniels. LSU's defense can't stop a wet fart.
Dude, it ain't
Their
that
secondaries
bad.
is
It ain't
bad.
that bad. It ain't that bad.
Let's be honest.
It's 120th in the country. It's that bad.
It
I mean,
ain't-
how are we denying this? Why? Is it because we're biased right now?
Dude, even if it is that bad, dude, you acting like they should just stay in New Orleans.
No, it's a rivalry game. It's going to be a good game, but what I'm saying is, I don't know why we keep thinking there's going to be a shootout just because LSU's offense is great. Alabama's defense is also great. We've had look how many times we look back and had two great teams, and it completely went. We thought they were going to score. It's going to be 50-something to 40-something, and the final score is 17-14 or 21.
That's why you play the game.
But I got one point.
It's not going to be a shootout. That's
We
what I'm
act
saying.
like these teams, that Alabama's got to play ain't got no shot. Alabama hasn't won a game against a good opponent that they've scored over 32, 35? You think 35 is going to beat LSU, or really 30? Y'all can't score 30.
What do you mean? We're literally averaging like 34, and we're struggling.
Okay, you got a couple outliers against Middle Tennessee and.
Well, Missouri beat Middle Tennessee by 4, and they're going to have a chance to beat Georgia. I'm going to throw that out there right now.
I don't think y'all's offense is struggling. I think that's your identity. That's just your offense.
But you can
I
say
don't
that,
think-
but then you see the flashes. Like I said, if Alabama can run the ball like it did in the second half, and Milroe's throwing like he did in the second half for a full game, you're not beating them.
Yeah, but
But is it really flash?
first-round receivers? You're not all flash now.
Only
It's not
Alabama.
like that.
Why is it only that Alabama can get better and correct shit?
No one said that.
That's what it is every week. Every week, if Alabama can go in, they can fix everything. But
No, it's
everybody
not.
else is going to
There's
play their
proof,
worst
Harris.
game. Everybody else
There's
is gonna
proof
go
of Al-
play their
okay, look, let's end it like this. Since we're doing the bull crap, well, why can't Alabama only get better? Okay, let's look at it. There's proof of Alabama's offense doing great. Show me one fucking game LSU's done anything great on defense.
And there's proof that people get upset. And
I'm not saying there's no chance we can lose. I'm sitting there saying that there's no chance for LSU's defense just to be great. I don't know. Their secondary's garbage.
They don't
They
have to
gotta
be
be
great.
great. They ain't gotta be
Is
great.
Arkansas defense that good to hold y'all to 24 points or whatever it is?
We scored 21 in the first half, and then we stalled in second. It just happens like that.
Okay, that can happen against LSU.
LSU
Are y'all that bad that Tennessee
the
held you
scary-
to
the
7
scary-
points
the-
in the
the
first
scary-
half?
The scariest part
Arkansas
about
secondary's better than LSU. That's the thing, though. They are.
the
But
the
you
scary-
can't pick and choose when
I'm
like
not
you
picking
want
at
it
you.
to
I'm
be.
being straight up. Just because I didn't say we couldn't stall out. I'm just saying if you had to look at it without going, you don't sit there and just go, LSU's got this game won because they're deep. The reason they've had so many close games, it's not because of Jaden Daniels and offense. They're scoring 40 to 50 a game. But when you're giving up 52, it don't fucking matter.
Yeah, but how many
Problem
times
with
has
Georgia
Alabama
Bobo
scored
was there the
over
first time.
35
They
points
blame
this year?
Bobo year after year after year. They didn't blame that sorry motherfucker at defense coordinator that was giving up 45 a game.
Yeah, but how many times can you say Alabama scored over 35 this year against good opponents?
The last game we played.
Oh, okay.
One, that's it.
Here's a stat for you. Alabama's 21-2 in revenge games since he's been at Alabama. So
Throw that out the window, man. I ain't got nothing to do with this year.
At home, yes, it does. At home,
It don't.
Okay. I'll wait till next week. We're gonna wait till next week.
They sold popcorn at last week's game. They gonna sell popcorn at this week's game. It don't mean a damn.
Look, keep tugging people's nuts. And when Alabama beats LSU, it's gonna be, oh hell, Jaden Daniels just didn't have no help.
Since you know
LSU
everything,
played bad.
since you know everything, how to damn, you got a crystal ball. Let's put a little cheese on it.
Whatever you want, I'll put a bill on it right now. We get LSU
You can
$100.
put it-
$100.
Oh,
$100.
So is Alabama the king of the West still? Is that what you're saying?
$100. Alabama beats LSU.
Okay, I'll take
He
that.
finally put 100 on it, Barry. You might as well take
I said that at the beginning of the year. I'd bet that. I said it from day one. Did I not? Alabama LSU.
Hey.
I bet.
I get
Listen,
the point.
I don't know
get
where
the
we're
point.
at in this
I get the
slide.
points. I'm taking the points with it now.
Oh, here we go.
No.
I ain't doing that shit.
Well, let me get us back on track.
Yeah, I don't know where we're at. So Kevin, take us where we're going. I think we got Coach Price to finish us off.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't think Georgia has much of a chance of losing to anybody on their schedule. And I'm not saying that to back. I mean, they've got some good teams they're going to play. I don't think Missouri just does not match up from a talent standpoint to beat Georgia. And they don't have the luxury of having it in Missouri this year. It's at Georgia, so that's and Florida. Dude, Georgia's going to beat Florida. I think 43-20 tomorrow or Saturday. So, but as far as the LSU Alabama game, Ole Miss, they're done. They're not going to win the West. But they're this game. The reason this game scares me, and Alabama does, I believe our defense is elite. But I still don't think they're playing as good as LSU's off. So I don't know if Alabama's defense is good as LSU's offense is good, and that scares me. I don't. I mean, we can match up, but with offenses the way they play, the way offenses are designed, a great defense can give up 35 points easy. It's just a couple missed assignments and you're done. So I'm going to give the edge to Alabama simply because we're at home. And if this game was on the road, I would pick LSU in our pick 'em and on here.
I agree with that. Also, if there's LSU, I would not pick us.
So I think being home is going to help us out. I do think we're not going to win a shootout. We're going to have to keep LSU under 30 points to win the game.
I agree 100%.
Coach Price, I know that truck ain't, it's parked at the moment. I wish it was backed up to talk about this Tide, but what you got going to Atlanta?
Actually, I ain't even going to cut it off. It's going to stay idle for a week. Because one of you two going to be in the dumpster. But you called out all the organizations in Atlanta. But you didn't call out the CDC and the Ole Miss Rebels because y'all ain't nothing but crabs, so you can forget about it. Now, I've said it before, and I'm going to stick to it. Alabama can't win a shootout with LSU. But I think Alabama's defense is good enough to prevent it from being a shootout. The only issue is if LSU is up by 2 scores and getting the ball coming out in the third quarter, I would be a little nervous on the Alabama side because now you're in a legit shootout, which means there's no such thing as why are we not running the ball? You got to have 3 scores. You can't run the ball, and you can't put Miro in that position. But
Miro's going to turn in. Miro will turn into Tom Brady. You're about to hear it here in a second. Go ahead, Tony.
All I'm going to say is the biggest thing that everybody's forgetting, and I didn't even say myself, dude, who are you trusting with 2 weeks to prepare for a game at home? Brian Kelly or Nick Saban? Dude, you're giving Nick Saban 2 weeks, and also Malachi Moore and a couple other guys are getting fully healthy. You're giving Nick Saban 2 weeks to. He knows the season, Matt. This is it right here. This is
you had 2 weeks to prepare for Texas.
But the one thing
you can say that.
you can look at, but one thing you look at.
Go ahead. You can say all that back in 2017. Though. He's had 3 years to prepare his team to not be the most penalized team in the SEC and to not have all these mistakes.
Penalties. That's a referee's discretion.
You
can't prepare for penalties. The referee
Nick, you know what's going to
penalties.
You know what's going to happen. 6 out
I
of
can't
7
control if the referee calls a bogus pass interference.
6 out of 7 of us say that LSU and Alabama can't win in a shootout. You know what's going to happen, right? Alabama's going to win a shootout, and Tony's going to have the whole hour to himself.
Oh, I will stand on here with my if we win a shootout, I will stand on here with my ass out the whole time.
Bama wins 48.
Well, you might as well pull your pants down because you're going to have to get that tattoo any damn way, so you might as well have them down.
Y'all ain't winning no Natty, and you ain't winning no Heisman together. So
you don't know. You don't know.
I'll tell you what, Barry, let's make a deal right now. If that happens,
hold on. No, I'm not going to make no deal with you because you sit here and talking about all y'all going to do and having your ass out, and you won't even give me the points at home. So I'm not one.
Why you want the points if you think y'all going to win?
Because I'm a smart man and I know what Alabama have. What are you an idiot?
Nope. And I'm not a dumbass. I'm not giving points to the best quarterback in SEC.
Okay, then we'll shave a little bit of shit off.
Well, you ain't got enough hope in your team.
Different deal. I'll get that tattoo, like I said originally. If USC wins the Natty and the Heisman, if Alabama wins the SEC championship, and makes it to the playoff, you get the Alabama tattoo on yours.
But back to the point that you made. Back to the point that you made.
Y'all
Did you
don't know.
say
I've
given 2
I've already
weeks?
seen Barry's ass. He's got a script A already on it.
Well, to the point when you said given 2 weeks. Honestly, that's more of an advantage to Brian Kelly than it is Nick Saban. And the reason why I say that is because Brian Kelly knows that if he beats Alabama's defense, he can beat the offense. So you giving Brian Kelly 2 weeks to look at all the miscues, all the route running, all the plays that other teams have had success against Alabama with, whereas you look at LSU and the only thing you can say that hurt LSU the most was a passing game that was on all 3 levels of the passing game, underneath, intermediate, and deep. So to me, like I said, it can't come down to a shootout. But if LSU is up by 2 scores and getting the ball coming out in the third quarter and they score again, it's going to be bad for Alabama.
What's going to happen,
But
Tony?
it's
What's going to happen
if
LSU comes out and say their defensive line does have a good game?
The D-line's going to be fine. I'm not worried. LSU's D-line will get some pressure. But the problem is the linebackers in the secondary, outside of Perkins, the linebackers suck. Perkins, if Perkins can get involved and stay locked in on Milroe, it's going to be a long day.
He's going to spy all night.
If Brian Kelly is an idiot like he was against a few teams this year with Harold Perkins and wants to drop him in coverage, Milroe's going to pick him apart, and then he's going to break off a couple 30-yard runs. I mean,
yeah, they're going to spy him all night. It's just what
they're going to use Perkins the same way Texas used their linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that, and we all agree that should happen, but he ain't been doing it. That's what I'm getting at. I don't understand why. Perkins is the best linebacker.
He did a little bit more last week.
He's been spying. He just hadn't been rushing off the edge.
Right.
Hey,
Well, he's going to be rushing this week on Caden Proctor's side, I'm sure, next week.
let's do us all a favor and talk about a neutral topic. But I also want to say this. Last year, guys, we're all forgetting that LSU team wasn't as good as this LSU team, and the Alabama team last year was a whole lot better than this one.
No, it wasn't. Not even close. The defense is 100 times better, and the offense is actually damn near the same if you look at the numbers.
You can't go by just the numbers, dude.
The only thing better on Alabama's offense last year was Bryce Young. The people around him suck.
And that makes you 10
That's
times.
That's a big
difference there, Tony.
We lost Will
Anderson.
We lost Will Anderson, and the defense got better. So explain that one then.
But
we all know
the same talent as last year.
We could say Bryce Young. We could say Bryce Young all day, but Jahmyr Gibbs was your big playmaker.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this. None of these players play for the University of Alabama or for the University of Georgia, for that matter. Number 1, Dylan Gabriel. Number 2, Michael Penix Jr. Number 3, Jordan Travis. Bo Nix at number 4, making his arrival into these Heisman Power rankings. And number 5, also a newcomer, Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you guys have to say about this Power rankings this week? Do you agree, disagree? Dylan?
I agree with it for the most part. Again, I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't like that name, Jordan Travis, on my list. I don't know why. I just don't want him on there. Again, you're going to put a one-legged Brock Bowers on there. I don't care. He's just that good. Now, at 1, I'm going to switch it around, and I'm going to put Bo Nix at number 1. I think he's been the most consistent. We saw Michael Penix finally have a down game. Bo hasn't. And then another one, I looked at the Vegas odds, and it was JJ McCarthy was the number 1. Now, I don't know how he's number 1 in the list. I don't know if they got somebody to go to New York and look at the polls and write it down and send it to Harbaugh and tell us, hey, JJ's number 1 right now. But he is. I don't see him winning. But yeah, I don't mind the list right now.
All right, Craig.
I'm sticking with my guns, man. 1A is Michael Penix and 1B is Bo Nix. I don't know how in the world Dylan Gabriel keeps climbing the charts when he got outplayed by John Reese Plumley. But it sure as shit happened, and there he is, number one. So wherever these power rankings come from must be drunk. I mean, literally, he got outplayed by Bo Reese Plumley. Against the fighting Gus Malzahn's that almost pulled it. Oklahoma was in a struggle game. Lucky to get out of there with a win. So I got to bump him down. I still got a one-legged Brock Bowers on there, just because.
Yeah.
Harrison Jr. is like a pretty curtain over there. I mean, it's nice to hang him on the wall, but he ain't gonna be there. He's a receiver. Just be honest. It's gonna be a quarterback. So those are my guys that are gutting it out. I mean, Penix said he had a down game. He still passed for like 255 or 260, something like that. That's a down game for this guy. He's used to passing 400.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me how quickly Shador dropped off. But he's yesterday's news now. It's funny how this news cycle works. Just 1 week you're on, 1 week you're off. Which, like I said, it makes no sense to me. Dylan Gabriel's still hanging around up there. The Vegas odds I saw still had Penix as a favorite and Bo Nix number 4, and had Gabriel as number 2. I still got the LSU quarterback. I mean, if he goes to Alabama and gets a signature win, where's he going to be at? I mean, there's a lot of ifs, and buts there. That's not what I'm saying. But if he goes to Bryant Denny and posts a W, his stock's going to climb too. So this list next week is going to be interesting to watch, or the week after. We still got some big time games coming up, at least in the Southeastern Conference. So
Price, Craig, I want to ask you this. I kind of agree with you. I don't know if Dylan Gabriel should be number 1. I'm actually the kind of guy that thinks Jaden Daniels should be number 1, regardless of his record. But that's, he's not on the list, so we won't talk about him. But for me, Dylan Gabriel, if we're being honest, he probably has the best win of the year, and he played amazing that game against Texas. I think Texas is the bigger win than Oregon. Why do you think Dylan Gabriel shouldn't be on the list, or do you think he should just be lower?
I think he should be lower. I'm not saying he shouldn't be on the list. He just don't need to be at number 1. I mean, he climbed to number 1 last week on a bye week. So I don't know who's posting a little, some backhand deals to increase his Heisman stock, but the dude goes up on a bye week and then gets outplayed the next week and stays at number 1. I don't see it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dalton. If Jaden Daniels beats Alabama, he's going to win it.
I agree. I totally agree with that statement. I think that's fair. I mean, the dude has unreal stats. Like, I think he's got, 25 touchdowns and 3 interceptions or something like that. It's something crazy.
Yeah.
Coach Price, what do you got to say?
Well, I got Michael and Bo 1 and 2. Jordan Travis, I don't even know why they got him on this list. I guess because, we got to have a ACC team up in there somewhere. But I got, Michael and Bo 1 and 2. I would say Dylan would probably would drop to about 3, maybe 4. I would love to see Jaden Daniels on this list, and a one-legged Brock Bowers at number 5. But that number 5 slot if you notice from the first week we did this, how many times has number 5 stayed on the list? I've always said whoever is number 5, you're on the bubble and you won't be on there but 1 week. It's a good thing that Bo Nix moved up to number 4 and got off the bubble because he's safe. If you notice the other 3 guys that are there, they've been above the bubble, and that's the reason why they're still safe. Your USC quarterback, long gone, won't ever get back on the list. Shador Sanders, long gone, won't get back on the list. But I'm glad to see somebody other than a quarterback on the list. Marvin Harrison Jr., the kid is awesome. What he did last week was outstanding, but you want to call yourself a Heisman candidate, you're going to have to put 2-3 of those weeks together, consecutive. But the list, like I said, I can live with it for right now. it's not what I would go with. Like I said, Dylan Gabriel, I would drop into at least 3. Jordan Travis, I get him off of the list. And I have my boy Brock Bowers in there, who will be back for the Tennessee game.
All right. Hey,
I got insight on that one.
what do you think, though? Let's be honest. Would Ohio State be undefeated without Marvin Harrison Jr.? I don't think so.
No.
I think he is one of the better talents we've seen at the wideout position in a long while.
Yeah.
Who is the Ohio State quarterback?
Can't name him.
Kyle McCord.
See? And the reason why they're undefeated is exactly what Dalton said. Marvin Harrison Jr. is making him look like a good quarterback when he would be trash with anybody else.
Yeah. You take Harrison out of that game against Penn State, they lose. I mean, it's plain and simple.
I disagree with that.
You take Harrison out of a semifinal college football game and they'll lose.
I disagree with that. The Penn State game, just because Penn State they're awful. Look, I don't care what.
How many receiving yards does he have in that game?
It doesn't matter, man. They had other guys.
160.
It doesn't, because their quarterback couldn't complete a 5-yard route. He sucks. The guy should be in the back. He should be driving the truck when Coach Price directing him which way to turn. That quarterback he's arguably the worst Power 5 quarterback for a top 10 team there is. Like, he is awful.
Well, you picked him.
It happens. It happens.
Hey,
I didn't think it could get worse.
Who you got?
I didn't think it could.
I'm with Coach. I kind of like this list a little bit. I think not having, I don't know. I mean, if I had to drop somebody, it would probably be Marvin Harrison, but not because I don't think he's one of the most talented players in the country. It's just he don't have a quarterback to get him the ball. And unfortunately, the Heisman, if you had a quarterback that could get him the ball for 300 yards a game, the Ohio State quarterback would be on the list, not Marvin Harrison. So it's a crap award anyway. But I'm going to tell you what, man. I mean, I'm the lone wolf on this one. And, dude, every time I watch Jordan Travis, that kid is a gamer. He comes through for FSU every single time they need him. And I watched the, and I know this isn't like a feel-good award or anything, but, I mean, I watched his interview after the Duke game. He went up to Riley Leonard and, kind of just prayed with him and prayed for his health and stuff. And, man, that's just class act to me. So, I mean, the kid's obviously a good kid, but I think I would have the LSU quarterback number 1. I don't know, what kind of dial-up algorithm this computer is using to generate this list every week, but not having Daniels on this list, even in top 5, is ridiculous. So, I mean, I would drop Harrison, put Daniels on it, and then it's going to change every week.
But you know what, man? I'm sitting here looking at Dylan's stats and Bo Nick's stats, and I look at Jayden Daniels' stats. And if somebody did something like this, they should go to damn jail. I mean, Jayden has way more. He got about 500 yards just rushing. Then he got about another 500 yards more in passing. He's doing everything. Why is he not? I mean, you can't tell me this man can't be on this list anywhere. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I agree, Barry, but at the same time, the reason he's got that many more yards and in both ways is because of LSU's defense giving the ball the points and them constantly either having to play from behind or continue scoring. FSU isn't in that same boat, and if they were, I think Jordan Travis could put up those numbers. My personal opinion. I don't think he's a better quarterback than Jayden Daniels. But with the weapons that he has at Florida State, I believe he could put up the same numbers if he threw as many times, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's not a valid point because you have to do with what you have. You got to do what you got to do in the game that you're playing in.
I mean, I agree, but you can't.
And the one thing,
for it, though.
And on Barry's behalf on that, you talk about the Heisman. It's the best player in college football. And it's the best player on your football team. How many losses would LSU have if he didn't bring them back in the fourth quarter?
How many would FSU have without Jordan Travis?
But his stats are better. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no way. I mean, I think only thing they can say. Only thing they can say, maybe he don't have a good signature win. Maybe that's the only thing. But when you got 1,000 more yards than everybody else do between your rushing and your passing, that should make up for something, you know.
It don't sound pretty, but dude, going to Missouri and beating a team who, if you didn't beat them, they'd be undefeated. That was a big win.
And you were down 15.
TJ, who you got next?
Well, I'm actually going to drop. Let's see, 1, 2. I'm going to drop 3 guys completely off the list. And the reason why, because like I said, it's not about what the trophy was originally meant for, the best player. It's not what it is anymore. And we all know it. It's to the best player on some of the best teams. And I got to count the winning aspect into it in mind. So I know Dylan Gabriel's got the best record right now. And I know you said that Texas win is his best, but we don't know how good that Texas win's actually going to be now that Quinn Ewers is out for a month. Texas could drop a couple, and then that makes that win look pretty bad. And so I think Gabriel's got to, just for me, he's got to come off. Bo Nix has lost every big game of his career, including this year. He's got to come off. And Jordan Travis has got to come off right now because, I mean, they're winning. But come on, guys. They're in the ACC.
Bo Nix played his ass off against Washington, though.
The second best, but he choked in the end. He choked.
He played for Auburn at some point in his career, so therefore he's a loser.
No, Ronnie Brown was unreal. If they're Auburn player, I'll give them credit if they're good. But Bo Nix blows in every big moment. Show me one game
the kicker missed.
He turned it over on downs before that with a terrible pass. Somebody was wide open. Anyways, next point. Anyways, Bo's off. Jordan Travis, even though they're winning, like I said, they're in the ACC and they're not playing anybody. The second best team just got beat by Virginia. That's sad. So, in my opinion, like I said, Michael Penix is staying at now I'm going to keep him at number 1, even though he had a really bad game this last week. He had 0 touchdowns. Like I said, them big win hangovers are real, man. People don't believe it, but you win a huge game like that. The next week, you don't really practice as hard and everything else, and it showed. He had a bad game, but I still got Michael Penix number 1. I'm going to bump Marvin Harrison up number 2. He's been the most consistent player in the country at his position. And like I said, he's the most valuable player to his team of anybody outside of maybe Jaden Daniels. Those two are the most valuable players to their team. Number 3, I'm going to throw a new guy in here. And I actually hated on Texas because I didn't know who the hell their running back was going to be. Me and Evan got in arguments about it. Jonathan Brooks. I'm putting him in here. The dude's averaging almost 7 yards a carry. He got like 800 yards already with almost 10 touchdowns, something like that. The dude is the reason why Texas offense is going when it does, because they're honestly not throwing it as much as you think. Jonathan Brooks is a guy, especially now that Quinn's out, we're about to see if he can carry them. Because, I mean, Murphy can throw, but they're not going to lean on Malik Murphy to throw like they did Quinn Ewers. And my 4, like I said last week, I don't know why Jackson Dart is not mentioned at all. You want to talk about winning. You want to talk about stats. I mean, his passing yards ain't outrageous. He's only got like 1,400 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, but he's got 400 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. And he beat Jaden Daniels head-to-head. He outplayed Jaden Daniels in that game, point blank. If they keep winning and they go 11-1, he's got to be in this conversation. Do I think they're going to finish 11-1? No. I think they'll finish 10-2 in the regular season. But if they do keep winning, how do you keep that guy off the list, especially when his signature win is against Jaden Daniels? How do you keep him off?
You got Jackson Dart out, or Jackson Dart in and Bo Nix out.
Because I'm sorry, but let's say, dude, his performance against Alabama, that's Heisman worthy?
Yeah. What do you? Every Heisman has a bad game, period.
Not against the best team they play.
I mean, we've seen it before. Tim Tebow won it when he had 3 losses.
In the biggest game of the year so far, again, I'm not making a case to be a homer, but in the biggest game of the year that's been played, I think everybody agree it's been Oregon and Washington up to this point.
I mean, I agree, but I'm just saying it's not – Bo Nix, for me, like I said, it's been a whole thing with him. Jackson Dart this year, that's the only game he hasn't played perfect, and honestly, he threw good balls. The receivers dropped them.
But there's 15 guys better.
I've seen Bo Nix do this for 4 years. I've seen Bo Nix do this for 4 years.
But see, you're blinded by the past. You're thinking this is old Bo Nix.
I watched him do it again. I watched him choke on that one again.
He has been flawless this year.
How did he choke in the Washington game?
He's so used to it, he don't even have a gag reflex anymore.
So
Well,
he
who's
choked
number
the Washington
5?
game, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 370 yards or 340 yards. How's that a choke?
If that's choking, Milroe is getting sucked off by Dwight Howard.
I'm not sitting here arguing for Milroe to be on a Heisman list, so I don't even know why he gets brought. Y'all act like I sit here and say Milroe's an elite quarterback when I say he's average at best. Like, I don't understand why it always gets brought back to Alabama. It has nothing to do with an expectation for a list.
I didn't bring up Alabama. I just want to know why you thought Bo choked in the Washington game.
He had a wide open receiver on 4th down and missed him. Wide open.
One
stop.
You're talking one throw?
It don't matter. It cost him the game. If LeBron misses a game-winning shot, he lost him the fucking game. I don't care if he had 36 points. You missed it. It doesn't matter. You have to have that moment. There's a Heisman moment for a fucking Heisman Trophy winner. He shit the bed in his Heisman moment. Period.
Actually, Bo Nix really won the game for him. The defense gave it up because he took him down the field and he left a little bit of time on the clock, and the defense let them go all the way back down the field.
Before that, Bo Nix was stopped in 3 straight drives before that possession. So he didn't do good enough.
And he scored on all the other drives.
Yeah. And drove him down the field to kick a field goal to tie.
It don't fucking matter. All it matters is what happens when it matters. I don't care what you did in the first quarter. If it's the time for win the game, you win the damn game. That's what people go for. Matt Ryan did the same shit. Matt Ryan done this all the fucking time, and he
You're right.
sucks.
You're right. Bo Nix should have went out there and kicked that field goal.
Nope. He should have converted the 4th down, and the game would never have had that chance. It never got to that.
Well,
but how does it come down to one play for Bo Nix, but for everybody else it don't matter?
What do you mean for everybody else? Who does it doesn't matter for?
I don't understand it.
Who does it not matter for? Who does it not matter for?
Okay, would it have mattered if Michael Penix would have didn't score the last possession? Would he have been a failure and not on this list?
No, he would have dropped on the fucking list though, just like Bo Nix.
Bo Nix just made the list.
I'm talking about for me. He would have dropped on the list. If Michael Penix lost that game, Bo Nix would have went up because he finally done what I didn't think he would do. There's a reason I didn't pick Oregon because I knew Blow would choke.
Well, why you pick all them other games you lost?
I went 13-8. I haven't done bad in college yet. Go look at them. I got the best record in college games.
No, you don't.
How much you want to bet? Because I know I do.
So you already gave number 5, right?
I'll leave Bo Nix at 5 just so y'all can feel good about yourself.
It's just stats. I
don't give a shit about the stats. If you play and you don't beat nobody, when you play a good team, you have to win. It is what it is.
This is the same thing I used to hear people say about Herbert when he was at Oregon. And then
Herbert
it started lighting that shit up. But so
yeah, now he's back to
smoking. I think Bo is a good quarterback. We'll see though.
Herbert sucks now too. So
Herbert does not suck. Stop it.
He's garbage. Get out of here.
Well,
let's blame it on his broke finger.
Let's move it to the next slide because that one was absolutely exhausting. Let's get to something that's going to be a little bit more fun. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, the best rivalry in all the SEC. There ain't no doubt about it.
LOL.
It throws that little rivalry in that corn pasture of Alabama. They should burn the whole state down. It makes that rivalry look like Albertville and Boaz. Let's be honest.
We got another 45-minute segment coming up, folks.
Let me tell you right now.
Hey, Kevin, how can something be a rivalry when somebody won like 20 out of 25 games at one point in our lifetime?
Yeah, both teams.
Isn't that not the same for the Iron Bowl?
No.
How close is it?
Well, look at the
Georgia over. I think over the
record.
70 games, it's only like a 12 game difference.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Can anybody tell us the Georgia-Florida record before I get into this spiel here?
None of us really care outside of Georgia and Florida fans.
I would say Georgia by 15 games.
Hey, what is it in our lifetime, Dalton?
Okay, we're 27 years old. Coach Price, how old are you? Coach Price has seen 20 Georgia victories the other way. He ain't got to tell me how old he is.
I'm talking about you.
Here's the stat right here for that Georgia. It's Georgia leads 54-44 and 2 ties.
That's about like Alabama Auburn.
Yeah. Alabama's 49-37 against Auburn.
It's hard to call this a rivalry. I mean, a rivalry with a neutral site's a bunch of BS to me.
That's facts.
I agree.
Oh my God. If you've never been to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, let me tell you right now.
I ain't going.
There is no parking lots because by God, there's people in blue, people in red, partying, snot flying, beer chugging, sausage slugging. I don't know what you're calling it.
It's just like Ohio State, Michigan. You sons of bitches can go to your own states afterwards. We got to live with each other 365 days a year.
Yeah.
You just don't know that feeling.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the case, okay? Because I got
Hey, Dalton, imagine living smack dab in the middle of 5,000 two-turn Tony.
No, there's some people
That's my
worse
Sunday
than
afternoon.
him.
It is a great rivalry, though. All jokes aside.
Okay,
I love watching it. I've never missed it.
Before everybody go, let me say this right here. Here's what the web says. Okay, I'm just gonna do the top 8, the best rivalries in football. Right. Number 1, they got Michigan, Ohio State.
Of course.
Okay, which is a great game. I don't know why y'all be hating on Big Ten like that.
No, it's a game, but it ain't number 1, cuz.
Okay, I'm just reading. I didn't write it right. Number 2 is the Iron Bowl. All right, and now this might get in your crowd a little bit. Number 3 is Army Navy.
That's a beautiful game.
That's a great game.
Number 4 is Oklahoma, Texas. And they definitely did it this year because that game this year, boy, woo!
Where's
That was a
Princeton
game.
and Yale?
Number 5 is USC, Notre Dame.
Blow me. Get out of here.
And number 6 is Georgia, Florida. And here, check this out. Number 7 is Harvard, Yale.
Harvard, Yale, yeah.
And then 8, rounding out on 8, Florida State.
Over Georgia, Auburn?
So Georgia Auburn is like top 10 for me as well.
Yeah.
I've been to that game home and away. There's people, I'll never forget this. When me and Tony went to the Auburn, Alabama game, the Iron Bowl, people in the bathroom were saying, this game's loud. But 2 weeks ago when Georgia was here, it was louder. And I agree because I was there. And, dude, that's one of my favorite rivalries. Go ahead.
Georgia Auburn didn't even make the top 10 on it. Didn't even make the top 12.
It's the oldest
Wow.
rivalry.
They went California
and it'd be loud. That's just a loud stadium.
California, Stanford.
Environment to play in.
They went California, Stanford, Miami, Florida State, and Texas A&M.
The reason Ohio State and Michigan are number 1, no joke, is because most every year one of them's playing for a national title run, and that's not the case. Never was the case with Alabama, Auburn. Obviously Alabama's won their fair share, and Auburn won a couple recently, or one, I think. But other than that, I mean, usually the weird stat in the Iron Bowl is the fact that Alabama is like 2-10 against Auburn when Auburn's ranked in the top 10. So we have a hard time beating Auburn when Auburn has a ranked team in the top 10.
You want to hear a crazier stat? Nick Saban's never beat an Auburn team that's won 9 games.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
That's crazy. You're muted.
Well, let's get back to it. This is all about Georgia, Florida. And we got some unbiased folks in here. Well, they say they're unbiased. We know they hate Georgia. It is what it is. But y'all can try to put your pickles in your pocket for this moment. And it's all Georgia and Florida. They're coming down to my land, Jacksonville. And let me tell you something. Steve Dalton has been granted Saturday off. And the Chop and Block podcast will have a tent set up. We might not have a logo, but we will have cold beer and Polish sausages. Let me tell you that right now. And if you want to come down here from Polk County or Floyd County, Georgia, or hell, even Polk County, Florida, where Grady Judge is, that crazy old sheriff, you come down to Jacksonville, to Everbank Stadium, which used to be called TIIA Bank, whatever what they called it. It was Everbank first. Now it's back. Come on down and watch them dogs from Athens, Georgia, spank them Gators, fry them up on the side, and go for dessert after the game. The Chopping Block's going to be there. If you want to join us, send us a message. Dylan Brooks, what is the keys to this game? For me, it's forcing Florida to run the ball. I don't think Graham Mertz is going to be able to hurt us in the passing game if we're really honing in on the pass.
Willie P.
I
Yes,
don't see
sir.
Florida
What's
running
up,
on us.
Will?
Yes, sir, Willie P. To me, the way to win this game is do the little things better, do the basics. That's how this game has always been, really, and it's going to continue to be that way. If we can protect the ball, if we can establish a run, and we can limit turnovers and make it an even game, I think we'll cover the spread, which is 14.5. Now, if turnovers start happening, we've been fumbling for whatever reason this year. If turnovers start happening, and Graham Mertz keeps playing out of his mind like he has been lately, I mean, you never know. But I think we win it late, or not win it late. I think it's close at half, and then we pull away in the second half. I got us winning like 34-16, barely covering the spread. And I got a slight little poem for this game. Carson Beck gonna be slinging taters. Kirby Smart gonna be hanging gators. We're gonna hang them up high, and it's gonna be like that.
Hey, well, we always appreciate a poem, and man, I hope the game does work out that way. Graham Mertz has been playing out of his mind, but he's going up against the real dogs. And Craig, what do you got to think about this?
Well, a couple things. One is I'm glad the podcast is going to be there. But if I get one weekend a year to go to a game, it sure as hell ain't going to be Georgia and Florida. Since I have to pick, because both of you can't lose, I'm going to pick Georgia to cover big. Because Kirby Smart's going to get a new pair of Gators this weekend. I don't see how in the world Florida matches up with Georgia at all, unless they fumble 19 times in the first half. I think that's just a good old-fashioned take them out to the woodshed and spank that ass. I don't care about Mertz, and I've been low on Florida all year, and they've managed a couple wins together. I still think that they're straight trash. I think their coach is garbage. I'm not a fan. So I mean, if I had to pick who I hate more, I hate I hate Florida just a little bit more than Georgia.
All right, I appreciate that.
Because again, you both can't lose. It's not possible.
KD, you know what? I don't know if I want to hear what you got to say, but I'm gonna give you a chance.
I mean, look. Here's the honest truth. I don't hate Georgia. I dislike Georgia because they're the ones that are kind of in Alabama's crawl and trying to sneak up on our little dynasty we've had going, since you guys were in pre-K. But and plus, look, I always kind of have a little respect for Georgia because anybody that hates Auburn and Tennessee as much as I do, I kind of can get down with them. So, but look, man, I really think I think I know I said earlier in joking that Georgia's going to bash Florida. I really think Florida's going to cover the spread. And I do want to see a good game. And the most interesting thing to me, if Florida can somehow make it to the fourth quarter and keep it within 7 going into the fourth quarter, without Brock Bowers, I want to see who Georgia goes to pull their ass out of the fire. That's what I want to see.
Oscar Delp.
I want to see somebody step up that ain't Bowers, because that dude, if it weren't for Bowers, Georgia might lost a couple games each year, each year, this year and last, so it's definitely the Auburn game. So, I want to see somebody else step up, but I got Georgia winning, but I got them winning like 10.
Coach Price, before you answer this question, I want to throw you a mini question here. We just talked about it. Brock Bowers out of this game, out of the next game, maybe back in a couple later. Who is it for Georgia? Is it Ladd McConkey really taking over this week like I think it will be? Is it Oscar Delp? I mean, is it somebody we don't know, or is it the run game? What do you think, Coach?
Well, first of all, yeah, Brock Bowers is that dude. But don't think for one reason that Brock Bowers is the only tight end in Georgia's tight end room.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Delp is no joke. Lucky is no joke. So we're talking about Brock Bowers, but honestly, we got 2 good tight ends, right behind him. So I'm not really worried at the fact that Brock Bowers is not in the ball game. Like, oh my God, We lost Brock. We aren't going to be able to do nothing. We stacked all the way around. Kirby recruited this way for a reason.
Yep.
So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing Brock Bowers being the man. But you got to understand, this is also a guy who was second fiddle to who? Darnell Washington. So somebody else had to step up. So I don't think for one reason that I feel that Georgia can't win because Brock Bowers is not on the football field. We can easily win any ball game without Brock Bowers on the football field. It's just what it is your game planning is totally different because you're trying to stop Brock Bowers. Well, now you sit and say to yourself, oh, well, we don't have to stop Brock Bowers while somebody else break out. But like I said, Oscar Delp, that dude ain't no baby. He's a good tight end. And we can all we want because all you want to make it sound like is all Georgia got is Brock Bowers.
No, I got
I
my turn.
I wasn't saying
nothing
that.
like that.
I'm just saying there's a difference in great and
I'm not
good.
going to say nothing
They're
like
gonna
that.
have to
Don't worry.
prove it.
I got my turn. Don't worry. I'm not saying nothing like that.
I do like a point that JP kind of just hit on there is it'd be different if we were in a tight game and he got hurt in the first quarter and our game plan was feeding Brock for that game. He's out now. We're game planning different ways to win the game. It's not like, oh, it's a shock. Brock just got hurt. We're going to game plan to get everybody involved. And it's a homer thing to say, but Javon Bullard said it this week, and it got me rock hard, man. They said, how are you going to replace Brock Bowers? He said, you can't replace Brock Bowers, but we don't have to.
Well, that's what I that's what I said when Jerry Jeudy and Smitty and all those NFL wide receivers left Alabama. I'm like, well, we recruited their replacements. At the end of the day, you got to prove that you're worthy of actually taking those guys' place. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to any tight end.
Wide receivers.
Practicing is one thing. Practicing is one thing. When you get in that game, that's another thing.
Well, now, before I throw it to TJ,
well, I hadn't even talked about the game.
Yeah, go ahead. Dylan got me at rock hard. I thought we were.
Okay. Yeah, you better be careful there, man. Dwight Howard might be lurking around. But anyway, to me, Georgia, Florida is like you said, Dalton. It's the biggest cocktail party in the South. Nothing like it. But to me, it's not a rivalry game because is it Auburn a rivalry game? Is it Tennessee? Is it Florida? I mean, who is it? To me, there's in the SEC, there's only two, to me, what I consider rivalry games. That's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. Because when I say a rivalry game, Craig already hit on it. I live in the middle of 5,002 turnt Tonys. So a rivalry game is something you have to live with all year long, regardless, and they'll never let it die. We could sit and say Georgia, Florida, but how many times am I going to really run into somebody from Florida? I'll run into a Gator fan here in Georgia, and all they're going to do is just sympathize with the matter. But I don't have to worry about going in any restaurant and seeing anybody from Florida and have an issue with them. So to me, Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, you two are the only real rivalry games to me. The rest of them are just great SEC football matchups.
Dude, I'm dead at David saying I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
But anyway, go ahead, Tony, before we go to pick them.
First off, the coach process. I'm gonna start off with Georgia's gonna win the game, plain and simple. I think Florida does cover the spread because I do think Georgia's gonna start. Look, man, I don't care what y'all say. It just because it's Florida doesn't mean that you're not worried about not having Brock Bowers. Period. I don't give a shit who you got on the bench. You're worried that Georgia's offense ain't gonna be the same without him. You can lie to me all you want to because I'm the same way. I would say the same shit. If Jalen Milroe went down, I'd be like, oh, blah, blah, this guy can do that. It doesn't matter. Yes, you are. You're worried about it, period. Oscar Delp ain't making those catches Brock Bowers made against Auburn to extend the drive on 3rd and long back behind his back with one hand. This shit ain't happening. The dude's dropping balls in his chest and getting hit and fumbling. Brock Bowers ain't doing that. So, look, Georgia's got the team. Yes, they got the team, and they can game plan to beat anybody without Brock Bowers easily. But you don't have a guy like Brock Bowers on that roster right now that can take over a game like he can. You just don't. Lad McConkey can't do it. He's still struggling from that back injury. I don't want to hear that. They don't know. He can't. He can't. And you don't have the run game this year. You don't. Like I said, it's Florida. I think Graham Mertz is a smart enough quarterback to where he's going to keep the game semi-close for a while. But my prediction is when it gets tight, if it makes it tight to the 4th quarter, that Graham Mertz does make a mistake, and that's what wins Georgia's game, but puts the nail in the coffin for Georgia. And to the point about this largest cocktail party crap, I've been to the Georgia-Florida game with Dalton. It wasn't all that it's cracked out to be.
Oh, you a damn lie. You had a good time. I don't want to hear shit.
I had a good time. That doesn't mean it was better. Athens was better when I went there, and y'all were quiet after the 1st quarter. It was louder there. And y'all were quiet.
We ain't talking about loud. We talking about the party, the festival.
I don't give a shit about them. I don't give a shit about the queers outside getting drunk and fighting. I don't care about that. I care about the atmosphere leading up to the game and the atmosphere inside of the game. Them idiots outside that don't even have a damn ticket don't have shit to do with how good the game is and the rivalry. That don't have nothing to do with the rivalry. And honestly,
you got that at Auburn, Alabama.
If we're going to talk about Georgia and their biggest rivalry, in my opinion, your biggest rivalry, if you want to go back the whole history, up until recently, is Tennessee. Up until the past, 4 to 5 years, it's been back and forth the whole history with Tennessee and Georgia, the whole time.
But this is the question I got. What team right now is actually going to go in with the game plan against Georgia to stop the tight end that they've been going in with?
Well, I don't think you have to game plan that way, JP. I think now
so that means that if you're not going into a ball game and you're not putting your defense together to stop that tight end, then that means the other tight ends that you're not worried about is the one that's going to kill you.
I'm not saying you're not worried about him. I'm saying, but your game plan, like you said, if they're game planning to stop Brock Bowers and he's out, now you don't have to game plan that way. You can be like, okay, Brock Bowers out. I think my outside linebacker can guard this backup tight end. You're more. I'm not saying that he can. I'm just saying you go into it with a different mindset. Like I'm saying, let's say y'all are playing Alabama. I'd be way more confident in one of my outside linebackers guarding Oscar Delp versus Brock Bowers 9 times out of 10. Matter of fact, 100 times out of 100. I don't give a shit who's on Brock Bowers. He can catch anything. But Oscar Delp, what's he caught? Crabs?
And the thing of what's going to happen too is when
I'm not sorry, Barry, and I'm not saying he's bad. I think Delp's good. I think Lawson Lucky's good, but they're not.
I'm just saying when Brock drops back, he's going to be thinking. I'm not Brock, but Beck. He's going to be thinking Brock, and he ain't going to see him. It's going to mess that clock up a little bit.
Nah.
Well, he'll just have to find the new 3rd down guy. In the past 3 games, it's been Lad McConkey.
And on top of that, Florida's secondary is so garbage, dude. We're gonna finally see players like Arian Smith and Rosemary Jackson. They're gonna have big ball games. Like I said, it's not all about Brock Bowers as far as everything that's being done on the field for us. It's how you have to plan for us to try to stop Brock Bowers.
Well,
the reason why he was
Florida can't guard a guy named McConkey. It's not. They don't deserve to win.
I got an honest question because I really haven't got to watch much of Georgia's defense, but I see the stats that are being put up against them, like Vandy putting up 200 passing yards and 20 points, and UAB. So I keep hearing about Georgia's defense, because we're used to the Kirby thing. And like I said, I haven't watched, so this is an honest question. Why are y'all so confident in the defense just shutting down Graham Mertz, who's actually a very good quarterback? He's very smart. And Florida does have a stud receiver in Pearsall. I'm not saying that they can score a shit ton. Like I said, UAB did pretty good in the passing game. Vanderbilt did. So I really want to know why, if you're as a fan, because I'm confident in my team's defense. Why are you so confident?
Let me answer this first, and I'm going to throw it to Mertz. Did you watch the Kentucky-Georgia game? And did you watch the Kentucky-Florida game? And then also, you're worried about 200 passing yards from a quarterback in the SEC?
From Vanderbilt, yes.
And we won the
The average
game
was over 300.
easily.
You didn't win it easily. The game was close until the Vanderbilt guy threw an interception at the end of the game. It was a 10-point game. They were driving, and he threw an interception. It was a pick six, I'm pretty sure, to Javon Bullard. No, it wasn't no blowout.
So that
No,
means
the game was won
to the
easily.
occasion.
Y'all were up 10, Dalton. They were driving to make it a one-score game, and he threw a pick six. It was not won easily.
So that means the defense stepped up.
Yes, but I'm just saying that. But that's why
The game was never in doubt.
You're attacking me when I asked the
Never in
question.
doubt.
I ain't watched it. I'm just saying.
I'll answer.
The game
from
was
an
never
X's
in
and
doubt.
O's- From an X's and O's standpoint, we're shelling. We're just sitting back. All these games, in a big game, we did it against Kentucky, and we'll do it against probably Ole Miss, and then whoever we play in Atlanta. We're going to sit and bump and run man, and we're going to let our guys play. We're playing a shell. We're playing off everybody. They're hitting us underneath. Now we have missed some tackles that allowed those short passes to go for touchdowns, so we got to shore that up. But
my thing with that is too. I think we all seen that with Kentucky. I don't think there was a guy in here that didn't think y'all were going to whoop Kentucky's ass just because, and we all said it, the quarterback position. Leary versus Mertz is two different guys. You can play that bump and run with Kentucky because Mertz ain't going to make those throws. I'm not Mertz, Leary. Now, I don't know if Mertz will make these throws, but obviously he's a better quarterback. So that's what I'm saying.
But what did Mertz do against Kentucky? Nothing.
You can't go off of that one. Dalton.
Okay,
How?
but this is,
Okay,
but
what
this
did
is
y'all
what
do?
I'm
Okay,
saying.
hold on. Okay, let's end this just like this. What did y'all do against Auburn in 2020 and 2021? What'd y'all do against
I ain't
Auburn?
talking about damn 2
No,
years
no,
ago.
hold, yes, you are. We're gonna compare it. What
We
did y'all
ain't.
do?
I ain't.
I'm about to prove a point. I'm about
The
to prove
same
a point.
players ain't even there.
No, y'all beat the shit out of Auburn in 2021, right? Y'all beat the
different
absolute
players.
shit out.
What's
Listen,
that got to do with
shut
Graham
up and
Mertz?
listen. Shut up and listen, because you're trying to use the one game, and I'm giving you a perfect example. Y'all beat Auburn by like
2 years ago.
y'all. It doesn't matter when the fucking game happened. It's the scenario. Y'all beat Auburn by 40, right? Alabama literally had to go to triple overtime to beat that same shit-ass Auburn team, and then we came out and beat the shit out of y'all. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they did to that team versus what y'all did. Every game's different.
Oh,
What
it
does that
is.
got to do
Oh,
with
hold on,
Graham
hold on.
Mertz's
So
play?
everything's different
Get
except
him,
when
Barry.
it comes to Alabama.
Exactly.
I'm
So
talking
everything's
I'm
different
talking about
when
Auburn.
Alabama playing.
Man, you talking about a cream cheese bagel with an Alabama A stamped on it and
That's
served
nothing to do
hot
with
and
Alabama.
ready.
I'm saying that you're comparing a team that you're playing, and you're basing the reason you beat the shit out of them because what they did against another team. And it doesn't
So
matter.
you
Alabama
put
looked like shit against
22
Auburn,
and one.
and y'all beat that same Auburn team by 30. And then y'all got beat by 25 by that Alabama team. I'm just
We're
saying.
not answering the question.
But
What does
this
that
is
have
It's not
to do with
Graham
Graham
Mertz's
Mertz?
fault. It's not Graham Mertz's fault. Ray Davis ran for 300 yards. Y'all
What
don't
did
have a
Graham
300
Mertz do
yard
in
back.
the game, Tony?
What?
What did Graham
No,
Mertz do in the game?
What Ray Davis
He
does Florida
did
have?
good. He played good.
He threw a
Give me one of
I
them
think he had a
wings.
pick six. Or he threw a pick. I know he did. He didn't play
Okay.
good.
Okay, well, Carson Beck didn't play good against Vanderbilt then.
So Tony, I don't have
He
a
threw a
problem
big-
with
he
I don't
threw a
have a
90
problem, Tony. I don't have a problem with your logic. I have a problem with you being inconsistent.
I'm not
He's-
inconsistent.
Yeah, you are
What's
because
inconsistency?
dude, but that's what I just told you.
Okay,
You
give me an
keep on
example.
saying that. You keep saying that game to game, it don't matter. Anything can happen. Every game is unique. But you already got the Alabama LSU game figured out.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I said I think we win, and I gave a reason. But I was the only thing with Alabama LSU game. I was hitting with y'all stuff saying, why are we automatically just saying that this team's going to win because of offense when we're forgetting the other team has a great defense?
Nobody has said LSU was going to win it. I don't think.
But I was saying we're talking about giving the edge. We were saying if we got in a shootout, we're giving it to LSU. I'm like, but why do we think it was going to be a shootout? That's what I said. What gives you any reason to think it's going to be a shootout? Because Alabama's defense is elite. They can get pressure. They got 2 All-American corners.
Well, back
Our
to Graham
defense
Mertz.
was elite against Clemson in what, 15 or 16, and they scored like 40 on us.
Yeah,
That's
well,
my
Jaden
fear.
Daniels. Okay, well, Jaden, we can talk. Jaden Daniels is great, but he ain't Deshaun Watson. Let's be real.
Well,
Why not?
back to Graham Mertz. Back to Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz is a play action quarterback. He has to have established the run before he's making these throws. Now, that's not. I'm not hating on him for saying that. That's a lot of quarterbacks. But you look at the Utah game and the Kentucky game; they couldn't run the ball worth of shit, and so he wasn't doing anything.
So basically,
gotta establish the run.
you think that y'all are going to be able to stop the run? That's fair. That's what I was asking, basically.
Yeah, well, we have Kirby Smart.
I mean, I get that, but
And
shit.
before we move to the next segment, I'm gonna have to pull out my inner Coach Prime.
Uh-oh.
You gonna blow
KD, cut the
a lead?
KD, no, KD, cut the bull jive. Give me one of them wings.
Hey, that deep, brother.
Hey.
Well, I'll tell you what, that slide right there, it angers me. I think it is absolutely absurd that we want to compare Graham Mertz and say he did great when his QBR for the Kentucky game was 58. And, you
I
know,
didn't say he played great. I said he was good. You can't control your receivers dropping the ball, Dalton. As a quarterback, you should know that. I mean, what do you want him to do? What do you want? You want him to throw it and catch it?
listen, y'all, I hope the
Yeah,
ones
Bobby.
that are watching at home knows how frustrating this is. Because, my
The only
God,
ones that
this
find
is
it
what
frustrating are
causes-
Georgia fans. The only ones that find it frustrating are Georgia fans. Mertz is not bad. I'm not saying he's elite, but he is a very good quarterback, and he's smart. He just don't have the guys around him that are going to come out and beat Georgia. I told you y'all are going to win the damn game. All I was saying was, what makes you so confident in your defense? Because if you're giving up all these yards to whoever the fuck the quarterback is for UAB and whoever the quarterback is for Vanderbilt, why can't Mertz do it? Is all I was saying.
All right, well,
Alabama
let's go
gave
to
up
the
200 yards to Vanderbilt and 250 to UAB because I still ain't heard the end of fucking USF.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't, by God.
Exactly.
They should have damn suspended the program after that horrible
Exactly.
performance.
It's proven.
If Georgia would have done that, you would have went to Athens and tried to burn the city down.
Dog, I've watched y'all literally barely beat Nicholls State. Y'all should have lost to Nicholls State. And guess what? Y'all were still a 10-win team and beat teams, better teams. And y'all
Go ahead and tell me who y'all
lost.
lost to in Nick's first year.
Do what now?
Go ahead and tell me who y'all lost to in Nick's first year.
How many games did Alabama win the year before?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we
Brett
go.
Favre's.
Do what?
The fighting Brett Favre's. That's who beat you.
No, it wasn't. Brett Favre didn't play for Louisiana Monroe.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was Southern Miss. That was before Saban.
Okay.
Yeah, Southern Miss beat y'all early 2000s too.
Okay. What does that got to do? Okay, anyways. Like I was saying, Herbie inherited a 10-win team with the greatest running backs in Georgia history, and Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel did recruit them. And Nick Saban brought in an Alabama team on restrictions and had fucking John Parker Wilson and Glenn Coffey. And
you act like they're bad players.
they were 3 stars.
The last time he had this conversation,
Johnny Manziel was a 3-star.
Kevin Sumlin's a freaking quarterback genius.
Kevin Sumlin.
I guess
got
nobody
DUI
Alabama can
yesterday.
coach. Hell,
Not
Kevin
in
Sumlin
2007. Why do you
got a
think
better
Kevin
record
got
than
hired?
Kevin Sumlin got a better record than Jimbo Fisher.
And Kevin Sumlin got a DUI yesterday.
That's why he got a DUI, coach.
Yeah,
Drinking himself to
Drunk
sleep,
on it.
trying to figure out why he didn't get paid $100 million to use that big game.
all right. Well, look, fellas, we have went way over on this one, and it's been fun. But God Almighty,
Oh, you got a
we
headache.
just need a separate show
I need a
to have TJ come in and just dog out whoever he wants to dog out, and we should just be
The reason this shit lasts so long is every time I say something, y'all turn it into 20 minutes of, well, TJ said this, let's do this. I can't help it. I asked a simple question. You couldn't fucking answer it.
This man is outlandish, and it's clear to see. Georgia, Florida,
No, dog.
Oregon, Utah,
You gonna pick?
Duke, Louisville,
Duh.
Oklahoma, Kansas, Tennessee, UK, who squashed Florida, we might add, but Graham Mertz and Florida's going to somehow, do good against Georgia. But we'll see.
What do you mean? What's the tape? I said they were going to lose, Dalton. What did I say he was going to do? I said I think they would cover a 14.5-point spread on a neutral field. What the fuck? What is?
I guess Graham Mertz will
Vegas
have
crazy
his,
for doing the spread as crazy as I am for thinking they're going to cover. I don't understand what the dilemma is here. Y'all are going to win. If y'all don't win, you better not have a show because I'm picking y'all to win. And if y'all lose, I better not have a. Y'all ain't gonna have a show.
What you gonna do? Y'all lose.
If we don't play this week, so I'm good.
Well, there's one thing that we can guarantee since y'all don't play this week, and it's a Jalen Milroe interception or a fumble won't happen. And that's probably the best thing for Alabama. But I'm going to throw it to Dylan Mertz, even though he's got a terrible last name now that this show has transpired for an hour and a half. Dylan, I don't give a shit about your last name, but I'll let you go ahead and answer these questions.
Look, my brother's had a good last couple of weeks, but he's going to stall out this week. Like I said earlier, Georgia's going to be able to establish the run. Hell, Kentucky ran for 300 with one guy on them. We'll be just fine. We'll run the ball. We'll go off play action. We'll be in a lot of 11 personnel. Since Brock's down, we won't do as much too tight end. We'll throw it around the field on them. 34-16 is kind of my guess on that one. Oregon, Utah. Utah just got the big win, emotional win. I think they're in a slump after that, and Oregon is a machine at this point. I think Oregon wins big. Duke Louisville. This one's the trickiest game out of all the pick'ems. Louisville is at home, but we still don't know if Riley Leonard is playing or not.
He played last week, didn't he?
He did, but he got hurt again. Regardless,
Dookie.
I'm going to go with Coach Elko and Duke, their defense, to get that done, and they will beat Louisville. Oklahoma, Kansas, I think they had the scare last week to wake them up. Oklahoma wins that game. And then Tennessee, Kentucky. Again, what nobody talks about with Tennessee is their defense. Their rush defense is really good. And Kentucky, if they can't run the ball, they can't do a thing. So I'm going to pick Tennessee winning that game.
All right, Craig, what you got?
I got Georgia covering against Florida in the world's largest cocktail party. Number 2 is the game of the week for me, man. Oregon, Utah. I think that's going to be a good one. Oregon's 6.5-point favorite going into Utah. Maybe Bo will have his Heisman moment. I got Louisville winning just for the simple fact that they're at home. Oklahoma's going to squash Kansas, and I think Tennessee's going to come back and kind of like what Dylan touched on there. Tennessee's a little bit underrated on the rush defense. I don't think UK can run the ball on them, and that's going to make for a long day. All these schools, I said it last week. You know, you got your Dukes and your Kansases and your UKs. They're getting ready for basketball season. Y'all didn't factor that into account. It's almost time for tip-off, so football's about to go away. They start losing interest in that. So I'm just going to be hard for me to pick Duke, Kansas, or Kentucky for the rest of the year.
All right, Coach Price.
Well, I'm going to make it quick because Kevin got my stomach, as Chris Berman would say, bumbling, rumbling, and stumbling, about to go to the kitchen as soon as this is over with. So I'm going to go with my boys, of course. You can call it a homer. I'm going to call it a home run. But Georgia is going to knock Florida right out the park. Number 2, this is the tricky one, but I still see Bo Nix, as Craig said, with his Heisman moment, and Oregon coming out on top in this ball game. Now, 3, Duke Louisville. I really don't know which way to go on this one. So what I'm going to say on here may not be what I pick on my pick'ems, and what I say on here might be part of the pick'ems. But just because I used to love the boys in basketball until I watched Christian Laettner actually travel when he threw that ball, I'm going to go with Duke. Now, Oklahoma, you boys are hot. You got to keep it going so that your quarterback can stay into the Heisman, conversation. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma over Kansas on there. And like Dylan said, Tennessee's got a great run defense. And if UK can't run the ball, Georgia already showed that you can't throw the ball on us if you can't run it. So give me Tennessee in that one.
All right, KD.
I got Georgia winning by 10. I think Florida's going to cover the spread. I think they'll be able to move the ball a little bit against Georgia. I don't think this is quite the same Georgia defense we've seen the last 2 years, but I mean, they're still a good defense. So, and then again, they've got the, I don't know, that their coaching is not great either. So who knows, but I got Georgia by 10. I got Utah in Oregon against Oregon, man. That's who I'm going to pick. I've been rolling with Utah in every single big game since they put it on us in the 2008 Sugar Bowl. That team in the big games, man, it just doesn't seem like they lose. So I like the Utes. I got Duke over Louisville. I really think Duke's a good football team, and you know, I honestly I haven't watched any Louisville football, and they might have a good one, but I'm going with Duke just because that's who I know. I got Oklahoma over Kansas. That's probably going to be a 20-point win for Oklahoma. And then I got Tennessee beating Kentucky because, as Craig said, it's hard to pick Kentucky after, September, so I'm going with Tennessee in that one.
All right. Two-turn.
Georgia beats Florida. I think Florida covers once again, but Georgia wins. I'm with Kevin. And since y'all want to keep throwing Heisman moments, yeah, Bo's going to have his Heisman moment just like Caleb Williams did last week. And Utah's going to turn him into a clown just like they did Caleb Williams. There's something about Utah, man. Their defense is stout. I don't know why. I don't care what anyone says. They're stout. And that quarterback's actually coming along pretty well. I think Utah wins. Duke beats Louisville. I don't know why they win, but Duke beats Louisville. Oklahoma, Kansas, I think it'll be a shootout, surprisingly. Oklahoma wins, though. And I don't want to pick Tennessee, but I'm with you guys. I just don't think Kentucky's going to be able to throw to beat them. And I hate Tennessee, but Tennessee wins.
All right.
Hey, I think we got a special guest in backstage. If you want to,
Yeah, bring him on in here. I saw him come in
see
there.
a little bit, yes, sir.
Hey, I want to introduce this guy real quick as the new dad. Big shout out to Jared Cole, the Chopping Blocks on the birth of his little girl. Great time. I had that 8 months ago, almost to the day. Big shout out, Jared. Glad you could join us.
Man, first of all, thank you very much. It's been a hell of a ride. You just got to take sleep whenever you can get it. It just so happens that was this afternoon. But thank God she was born for the Georgia-Florida week. I mean, what better time for a little kid to be born than when you're kicking some Gator ass?
Jared, is there any truth that y'all her middle name was Terry after Terry Saban? That's the rumor I've heard.
Minor factual errors on that one. It was a close call though. That was extremely close. No, but I just want to let you know how close that was. But no, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of fun. If Georgia wins this week, then that'll cap it off. But if not, we'll have to reevaluate some things. But no, it's been a lot of fun.
Hell yeah!
Well, congratulations, brother.
Well, we've had a lot of great things going. We had two-turn getting married, you having a baby, and I became a grandfather.
That's right. I was about to give your own shout out, Barry. Our producer, Lisa Kane, become a grandfather. Yeah. And I had, I don't know if it was the pleasure or the anxiety of knowing that first and not being able to tell anybody and just keep it quiet for last week's show. But we did a good job of that. And thank God we somehow ran an episode without Lisa Kane in the episode. So, hey, I just wanted to say all the people that watch this show and share it on TikTok, like it on TikTok, Instagram, we do appreciate it. And, we want to keep doing these videos and we want to bring you guys in. We appreciate the comments. If there's something you want to see us do in the future, let us know. We've gotten a lot of hits over the last weekend talking about doing a current events type show with MMA or boxing. And I know boxing is big this weekend with Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. Going to be an absolute legendary matchup.
They're
Might
fighting.
not be as big as the old Florida-Georgia matchup, but we'll see on Saturday night. But this has been the Chopping Block Podcast this week in college football. Tomorrow night, we're back with the host, Lisa Kane, in the NFL show. We appreciate you. And, for all these arguments we have to deal with two-turn, God love us. That's all I got for tonight.
Roll Tide.
I wanted you to end the show when I said God love us, but I'm going to let Dylan take us out. Go ahead, Dylan. What you got?
Dalton. Drop that shit.
Yeah, we about to do it. Watch us get